Hello everyone, welcome back to Diamond Painting and Dr. Pepper. My name is Kate, and today I have an unboxing and whip and chat for you. This kit is called EMBER the Sky Dragon, and I'm the artist of this kit, so I'm really excited to share it with you, and hopefully you enjoy seeing a little sneak peek of it from me. When I originally recorded this footage, I wasn't sure when it was going to be released for everyone to purchase because it had been available as kind of a pop-up extra buy at the end of when you were checking out on diamondartclub.com, and I wasn't sure when it was going to be released to the general public, but it looks like that is happening tomorrow. I'm posting this video on Friday and it'll come out tomorrow on Saturday, so that's when it'll be available for purchase. So later in the video you might hear me talk about how I wasn't sure whether I should post this video or not because I didn't know when it would be released, but now that I know, I'm gonna go ahead and post this. This video actually has a bit of everything, so you're watching the unboxing portion right now, which I kind of muted and I'm talking over as a voiceover, but then we'll get into kitting up, and after that we'll do a little bit of a whip and chat, and then if you hang around till the very end, I actually did complete this one, so I'll give you just a little preview of what it looks like completed. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Thanks for being here. Okay, so you saw the unboxing of this diamond painting kit, and now it's time to kit up. So I thought I'd bring you guys along with me as I kit this one up. I have separated each of the bags and put them in numerical order just to make it faster. And then I have my sticker sheet and all of my Elizabeth Ward container stuff ready. How have you guys been doing? I hope that you've had a good time since the last video I posted. I'm trying to record with my mic this time so that hopefully the noise of the plastic won't be too loud. Because I know that sometimes my phone picks that up really well over my talking, so hopefully it won't be so intrusive this time. I dropped a couple already. Usually I use a tray to do these, but they're so small I thought it might be easy enough without that. We'll see how it goes, I guess. I can always grab one if I need to. So yeah, this kit is the newest one released of artwork that I've created, and it's an exciting one because I love dragons, and I actually drew this dragon kind of a little bit for my son Casey because he is super into the Wings of Fire series, and that's all about dragons. I've read the first two books. I need to read the other ones so that I know what he's talking about all the time. But this dragon doesn't really like match any particular character from that series. They all have very specific looks and traits, and I just kind of drew a dragon the way that I like to draw dragons, but hopefully it's enough of an homage that Casey likes it, and I know he likes it because I got one of these for him too, and he's already kitted it up and started on it, which he's not a huge diamond painter, so the fact that he wanted to kit it up and start it the same day we got it was pretty cool, I think. So this one isn't available to purchase off the Diamond Art Club website yet. The only way that it has been able to be purchased is that when you're checking out on diamondartclub.com, sometimes randomly you'll get a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to also buy this kit? So I don't know what causes that pop-up to happen and why some people get it and some don't, but I know that it will eventually be up for sale. And I will probably update my YouTube when that happens. I think I can use the community post even though I don't have 1,000 followers because they changed that. So I would probably update it on a community post just in case anyone's interested in getting this one. It's along the same lines of the other like beginner style snack size kits that have been released of mine so far. It's a slight bit bigger. The rest of them were like 9 by 9, and this one's still 9 inches wide, but it's 10.5 inches tall. Just to make sure I could get the whole dragon in there with his wingspan. Actually, I think it's a female. I think it's a female dragon. Her wingspan and her tail. Yeah. I named her Ember because she looks like a dragon that would breathe fire. Anyway, I think she's super cute. And I had a unicorn, which is my other favorite fantasy creature, so I felt like I needed to also draw a dragon. And then a mermaid, which is another fantasy creature that's a favorite of mine. Do you guys have any favorite fantasy creatures that I haven't drawn yet? Because that would be kind of fun to like draw more fantasy creatures. I might get interrupted here. I ordered some dinner and it might show up while I'm working. So if the dogs start barking, you'll know why. But I'll probably try to cut that out if I can, because they get loud. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, but I am kind of getting over being sick. I was sick for about a week, and I'm at the tail end of it finally, thankfully. It kind of felt like COVID to when I had COVID. It kind of felt similar to that, just because I was unable to like take a full breath. But I did take a COVID test and it was negative, although it was expired. So I don't know how much that affects the testing. So hopefully we're all good there and we can get back to normal. Because it's hard to work when I'm sick. My focus is just a little bit off, you know, when my head's so fuzzy. So I'm looking forward to getting work done a little bit quicker when I don't have that affecting me. This kitting up process is going real fast, so we'll probably also be able to start the painting in this WIP and chat. Or kit up and chat, I guess. It was supposed to be a kit up and chat, but I know that these kit ups go really fast when there's only 20 colors. So I might take a break when food gets here and eat, and then come back to this and see how much diamond painting I can get done. I don't really want to like knock this one out super fast. I just kind of want to enjoy it. I did that with the Dino Roar one. I took my time and really enjoyed it, and I found it very peaceful and fun to do it that way. Since this one doesn't have like a hard release date yet, I feel like I don't have to like rush to get it done before it's available, so that you guys can maybe see what the finished piece looks like before you decide to buy it or not. It's really nice. Like whenever a sneak peeker on YouTube is able to get a piece early enough that they can work on it before it's released and show some or all of the completed piece, I know it definitely helps me decide whether or not I want to add it to my card or my wish list. So I really like strive to do that when my pieces are released too, just because I typically get them early and so I can typically work on them before they're released, and that's what I try to do. But yeah, so I'll take my time with this one because I don't have a release date yet. So far, all of the packets have fit into the smallest Elizabeth Ward container size, and I think there might be one that won't fit into this size, but it's a small kit, so I just recently found these Elizabeth Ward containers on sale on Amazon. So I bought one that was all smalls, because I tend to run out of the small ones faster than any of the other sizes. I bought one that was all smalls, and then I bought one of the regular ones that have the variable sizes in it for my son Fletcher, because he's been using my Elizabeth Ward containers and he really likes them. So it was his birthday and I got him one. Oh yeah, I could talk about Fletcher's birthday. That was fun. He turned 19 on the 1st, so I can't remember if my last video talked about his party or not, but basically we had like a game day and a diamond painting night. So that was really fun. And I made him, at his request, I made him no peak chicken on our game day, which is a meal I don't make very often because it takes like a couple hours to cook, and I usually don't prepare enough in advance on any given night to make a meal that takes that long to cook. But since he asked for this in advance, I was able to like plan for it, and it was a weekend, and ooh, look, we've got some static going on that one. I don't have any dryer sheets, so what I'm gonna do is just like kind of take this whole lid off, because this one is from the Joann Fabrics like knockoff Elizabeth Ward containers, so the lids come off on those, and in this case that actually helps because I don't have to hold it open. And then I'm just gonna try and like jiggle these out a little bit. They're gonna go everywhere, but I'll just pick them up with my finger. I really need to get some dryer sheets. I don't use them for my laundry, and I just forget every time I'm at the store or something, because I literally would only use them for diamond painting. Okay, well, they're all out of the bag, which is the hard part. So now we just need to pick them up and put them in the container. Oh gosh. But yeah, if you run into staticky drills ever, I've heard a couple of different solutions. I've personally tried dryer sheets because when I was visiting Katie, Diamonds and Washi in California, some of my drills for the kit I was working on were staticky, and she gave me some pieces of dryer sheet to use, and it worked like a charm. You just put it in there with your drills and it kind of collects all the static, and then your drills aren't staticky. I've also heard people say that if you rub a Q-tip dipped in rubbing alcohol around the inside of your container and then put the drills in, they will also lose their staticky feel. So that's something you could try. I don't have rubbing alcohol or a Q-tip either, so I am obviously pretty ill-prepared for staticky drills right now. But I love how if I put my finger in there, it just picks up a bunch of drills. They're like, no, take me with you. I don't know if I can get this back in here because there's a drill in the way. I might have to use my tweezers to remove that. Where did I put my tweezers? Here's some. Okay. Kind of got to get them out of the way of where the closure is. Okay, there we go. It's nice to just be able to go in order and not have to search for the next color or try to remember what color I just put in the container, because I know that I'm going right down the line. This one's definitely going to need a larger size. We'll go with the next larger size. I think that'll be big enough. Yep, perfect. So, an update on what I've been reading lately, which, if you're new, I mostly listen to audiobooks because I can diamond paint or do other things while I'm listening, and my brain just likes it better that way than only reading a book. I, for some reason, just prefer to be multitasking. So I was listening to Stephen King's 11/22/63, which is a book he wrote actually in 2011, based on the idea of a man who finds a portal back to 1958 and then decides to try and stop the assassination of President Kennedy in 1963. So he has to travel back to 1958 and then stay there in the past for 5 years until it's 1963, so that he can try to prevent the assassination. And it's a really long book. I mentioned last time, I think it was over 30 hours on the audiobook, which is quite long. And I enjoyed that because I could really just, he took his time introducing characters and doing character building and the world and because things were so different back in the early 60s. It was really interesting to he did a lot of research and he described kind of his interpretation of the way things were. And I think he was, alive during that point too. So I'm sure some of it was from his memory, Stephen King's memory. So it was really kind of fascinating to be immersed in a different time, because I've read a lot of Victorian stories and things like that, and that almost feels like a whole different world because things were so different. But this was the same world as ours, just 50 years previous, and the differences were pretty stark, I think, especially culturally. So that was fun. I did finish that book, and it's one of those where if the ending isn't good, it kind of ruins the whole book for you. So I was happy to discover that the ending was good. It wasn't super predictable, which is great because it's nice to be surprised. But I liked the ending, and I thought it worked really well with the story and was satisfying, which with a setup like that, where you're having somebody go back and try and prevent the assassination of President Kennedy, and it's this huge historical moment in United States history, you really have to do the ending justice or your readers aren't going to be happy. So I was glad that happened. It was a good ending, and I actually took a little bit of a break. Well, hold on, let me get set up to start diamond painting, and then I'll come back and talk more about that. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, our food got here and I had dinner, and then Fletcher and I hung out for a while. And now I am ready to continue this WIP and chat. And did I cut that all the way through? I don't think I did. As I was saying, I took a little bit of a break on finishing up the Stephen King novel because the second secret project came out from Brandon Sanderson's Year of Sanderson, and so I listened to that in between. And it was not as long as some of his other books, so it was a pretty short listen. Also very enjoyable. Definitely something different from him that I hadn't really experienced before, so I enjoyed it a lot. Can recommend. I won't say the title here in case anyone is a fan and is still trying to keep it spoiler free, because he didn't announce the names with the books, so I'm not sure where he's at with that. I think it's getting announced soon, but I'll just not say it in case. I did get some responses in my last WIP and chat saying that you guys are fantasy readers, so some of you, and that was really cool because I'm such a huge fantasy nerd. It was awesome to like geek out with you in the comments, so. Now I'm currently reading, is it Project Hail Mary or just Hail Mary by Andy Weir? And I think I mentioned that in my last WIP and chat was a book that I downloaded at the same time that I downloaded the Stephen King one. So, yep, I'm on to that one. And it's interesting because the Brandon Sanderson's Secret Project book has an afterword where he kind of talks about where he came up with the idea for this book and everything. And he actually mentioned Hail Mary because it's a similar type of story device where the main character starts the story not knowing who they are. And so yeah, he mentioned that Hail Mary was a good example of that too, that he enjoyed. So I was like, oh, well, I'm reading that next, so that's cool. I haven't gotten very far into it yet. It's definitely a lot more, this is my first book I've ever read by Andy Weir, and it's a lot more like scientific jargon than I'm used to in books. So yeah, he really like goes into detail about all the science and stuff, which is cool. But it makes the read a little bit slower because I kind of have to concentrate a little bit when he's talking about that stuff so I can understand it. I'm not sure what I'm going to read next once I'm done with this one. But if you have any suggestions, please leave those in the comments. I am considering maybe starting the Crescent City series because I did like the Sarah J. Maas, like the ACOTAR books. Although I could also finish those because I've only read the first 3. So that could be what I end up doing, but I don't know. I'm open to ideas. My dogs are being noisy. So lately, in my spare time, I have been playing a lot of The Sims, which I kind of go through phases of playing and not playing, but I've been playing that, franchise since it came out in 2000. So 23 years of playing this franchise, and an expansion just came out for The Sims 4. So I've been enjoying that because it had to do with like families and babies, and that's my favorite part of playing The Sims is like the genetics and family gameplay and stuff. So yeah, I've been taking advantage of that, and I recently discovered I've watched a lot of simmer YouTube channels and like speed builds and gameplay, but I've recently discovered this stop motion Sims 4 building, and it's something like completely different where they show their build that they've made, but they do it in such a way that like items kind of show up one at a time in the room, like it's been filmed stop motion. And I was so inspired by that because usually when you watch builds on YouTube, you can see the player like making all the decisions and going into the build by menu and grabbing the, browsing the items and grabbing the one they want and placing it into the house they're building. But with the stop motion thing, you kind of just get this pretty view of the room, and then it starts decorating itself, and it's really like aesthetic and peaceful. I really enjoy it. I kind of want to try it, but I don't know what I'd do with like the videos that I would make, because I don't have a gaming YouTube channel, and like I'd never probably watch them again. It's something that looks fun to make, but I also don't know how much time I would have to dedicate to not only doing the builds, but then also doing the filming for the stop motion, which I think takes quite a while. I watched a tutorial on how it was done because I was so curious. And yeah, I feel like it would take a bit of time. So I don't know. I do this where like I see something and it looks like so much fun and I get excited about it and I want to try it. But then I start something and never continue with it. So I don't want to do that again. But at the same time, if I just make one and keep it to myself and find out whether or not I enjoy making it, that's not going to hurt anything. So maybe I will try it. I don't know. It's just, I can link one in the description for you guys to check out because it's so awesome. If you've never played The Sims before, I can highly recommend it. It's just, a life simulator. But man, I spend hours on that game. And the community is so creative. Back when I was into The Sims 3, which is probably the one I played for the most time, the community was doing a lot of like written stories on like WordPress with screenshots of the game to like help illustrate the story. And so I was part of that. But now I think people don't do that as much anymore. Now they just do like YouTube Let's Plays. I don't know why that wasn't as popular. I guess it was like 2008 when I was, was it 2008 through like 2015 or something when I was playing Sims 3. I think in 2008 it was still Sims 2. Anyway, I don't think YouTube was as much of a thing back then. So now it's kind of cool because you get to see the actual gameplay and what happens in game. But it was kind of neat doing it the screenshot way, because then you could like insert stuff that didn't really happen in the game and really be creative with the story. And you probably still can doing YouTube Let's Plays, but you have to be a lot more like fancy with how you film it and how you have to like set it up to portray what you're wanting it to portray, which I think would be harder in video form than it was in like taking a picture of your game and then writing about what was happening. So I have a lot of respect for Sims Let's Play YouTubers. I've been really enjoying some of their videos. It's the same kind of thing, like when I was doing the story type, you had people who were kind of making fun, silly little stories where they would show what happened in the game and then make silly commentary about it. And there's a lot of YouTubers who do that. But then there's also the kind of story where you would write like a full storyline and use the game to illustrate that. And there are YouTubers who do that too, is what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way. And both are really fun to engage with, I think. So I'm really excited about some new like life simulator games that are on the horizon. There's one called Paralives that's been in development for quite some time because it's an indie game, but they keep showing like clips from the process of making this game and how it's coming along, and it looks amazing. Because right now The Sims doesn't really have very many competitors in that style of game. It's really the only one that's like a life simulator like that. But yeah, so Paralives, once it's finally out, I think will be some good competition for The Sims. And recently there was a new one announced called Life by You. And that one looks, it's actually coming out for early access this year. So it's actually being created by like a game developer that's not indie. They're an actual games company. And they're working with Rod Humble, who worked on The Sims 2. So he kind of knows what Sims players are looking for. And this game looks incredibly customizable and open-ended. However, I'm not liking the graphics style, like the anatomy of the characters, as much as some of the other, like Paralives or The Sims. So I'm hoping I can get over that so that I can enjoy the game. I haven't pre-ordered it yet, even though pre-orders are open, because I'm not sure whether or not I can get past the graphics. But I am keeping my eyes open for news and updates about that game too. And then The Sims is coming out with The Sims 5 finally. It's in development. They're calling it Project Renee right now. That's like the project name they're using. And they have revealed that they're working on it, but we've only gotten like a snippet of information about what it looks like so far. And it is in early development, so definitely not coming out this year. But yeah, real excited for that. I really hope they listen to their player base about the things we don't like about The Sims 4, because The Sims 3 was an amazing game, other than the fact that it was very bloated and made it hard to run your computer and would crash a lot and have glitches. Just the gameplay and the way it was, you had a lot of customization options and all this that you don't have in The Sims 4. And it really felt like The Sims 4 was a huge step back, like a step down, which was unfortunate. I do like the graphics better in The Sims 4 than The Sims 3, but yeah, The Sims 3 had a lot more that you could do and a lot more ways to customize everything. I'm sorry if this is really boring if you've never played The Sims. I'm just like chatting about what's on my mind, so. So yeah, I'm hoping The Sims 5 will be a step up. What else has been going on? I am trying to think. Oh, so we recently, for the first time, sold some of our snakes. We were going to breed snakes and sell them like as a side business, and we had hatched our first clutch of eggs last September, and we just sold 2 of them this past week. And it was really hard because we took care of these eggs, we incubated them, watched them hatch, and then have, cared for them since they were newly hatched little babies. And it was hard to see them go. But we did get kind of a message from one of the ones we sold. The person who adopted him is a science teacher, and he let us know that the one he adopted is now a class pet, and all of the kids absolutely love him and ask to handle him all the time. And I think he's just gonna have such a great, well cared for existence, and it was really nice to get that update. I feel so honored that our baby gets to be a class pet for a whole generation of, science class kids. Ball pythons can live 25 to 40 years, so he might be a class pet for a very long time. So I hope that he enjoys the attention. Ball pythons typically are pretty chill, so they would make great class pets. Yeah. And then the other one went to a young man who told me that he lives alone and wants a pet for company, but he does go on trips for work, and so it had to be a pet that could be easily cared for by his sister when he was out of town. And so that was perfect too, because snakes are such easy to care for pets. You feed them, when they're adults, you feed them twice a month and make sure they have water and make sure their bedding is clean and that they have the right heating. And then, they don't even necessarily care to be handled. A lot of them don't mind being handled, but they also don't crave it. So it's the perfect kind of pet for somebody who isn't home all the time and can't provide constant attention to like a dog or a cat, for instance. So yeah, I'm hoping that one will have a happy life too, but it's just like, it's just hard. These little babies that we grew are gone. And we happened to, like, we put up a post listing them and letting people know they were available, and we didn't hear anything back for a few days, and then all at once both of the babies got adopted on the same day, so we had to say goodbye to them one right after another. It was like, oh. And then we're keeping the other one that's left. So I have both the mother and the father snake, and then we're keeping one of the babies. So we have a whole family. We also decided to downsize a bunch of our other snakes also, because we have discovered that it's really hard to be a snake breeder. Surprise, surprise. Mostly the problem that I have with it is emotional. Like, once you've spent so much time raising them and making sure they're okay, it's really hard for me to like let go and want to let someone else have them. And I thought I'd be able to handle it, but then one of the babies from our first clutch passed away unexpectedly, and we're not sure why. This happened back at the end of December, and I felt so guilty. I don't know if it was something that we did wrong. We were following, all the guidelines for how to care for snakes, and all their siblings are fine, and it could have just been like a genetic defect or something that we didn't know about. Or they could have been sick but not displaying any symptoms. It's hard to say, but it was really devastating for me. And like, I knew that was a possibility going into this, that, you might not save all of them, but it was harder than I kind of expected. I don't know why I thought it would be less difficult than that, because I know myself and I should have known better. But yeah, it was really sad for me. And so after that happened, I suddenly had this, like, I have this anxiety every time it's time to go take care of the snakes, like change their bedding or check on them or give them water or feed them. I am always afraid that one of them isn't going to have made it or something. And so I almost have a panic attack sometimes when I have to go and check on them, and that's not good. Like, just because, like, I'm so scared that something's going to be wrong. So I think that's part of the reason that we decided to downsize. The market for baby ball pythons has also kind of crashed in the past year, and apparently it goes through like stages where it'll, the market will kind of tank for about 6 years at a time, and then it'll pop back up. And we could ride it out, but it's expensive to buy their food for that many, because we have, I think our current count is like, it's somewhere around 20. And so it's expensive to buy food for all of them. And also Fletcher's going to be moving later this year to live in an apartment with his sister. And there isn't as much space there, and I can't keep them here. So it's going to be probably better if we just reduce the number that we have. So that's the current plan. We don't, in order to ship reptiles, you have to like register to do that, and we're not registered to ship them, and I'd also prefer not to, because it's definitely not, like, it's safe and people do it all the time, but it's also not ideal. So right now we're just posting locally and hoping that someone here local will want to adopt our babies, our snaky babies. It's really hard to let them go though. Like, I know that that's what we should do and it's the right decision to make and everything, but I get so sad thinking about it. And I'm not giving them all up. I'm definitely keeping like the ones that I feel the most attached to. But yeah, it's a thing. I've always been raised that once you have adopted a pet, that's part of your family, and that you shouldn't just willy-nilly decide you're not going to take care of that animal anymore. And I am having a hard time telling my brain that this is a different situation, because we purchased them to be breeder snakes and we're not making use of that, and they would, they're really good breeder snakes, most of them, and they could be better cared for by someone who is going to utilize them in that way. Because as long as you do it in the right way, having them be breeders is not detrimental to them at all. So I am loving the colors on this kit. They're so fun. I kind of let myself use some of my favorite colors when I was drawing this. Really bright, happy ones. And I am living for it. Do people still say that? Living for it? I don't know. Anyway, so it has been almost an hour, I think. Getting close to it. So I think I will go ahead and finish up here. I'm hoping to have another video for you like next week or the week after. I know I'm not super regular at posting, but I do hope to keep videos coming at a semi-regular pace if I can. And I hope you enjoy hanging out with me. I really enjoyed talking to you guys and catching you up on what's going on with me. And if you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe and like the video. And I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye.